Ancient Cities has a new major update, and I want to take a look at it. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to this wonderful survival city builder in ancient times, known only, of course, as Ancient Cities. If you've seen Dawn of Man before on the channel, then you'll kind of be familiar with this one, and also Ostriv too, as it shares a lot of the same look and feel and features of both of those games, yet it does it its own way. The game has a new major hunting update, which allows us to go hunting in the Mesolithic era, and also do some more gathering and some more advanced things that have been added and fixed to the game, and of course player requests too. There's also more stuff coming down the line that the developer's already working on in terms of a Mesolithic job list that will kind of revamp the UI and things related to assigning people jobs and getting things done in the camp, so that way you can build a big survival city, a big ancient city with a large wall around it, and try to feed your people through brutal winters, and of course try to fight all of those wonderful things that would happen in those types of days and ages, like starvation and weather and so much more. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, by the way. I have giveaways and such on the Discord for everybody who joins there, and we've got lots of cool stuff to give away quite often there, so make sure you drop by. And if you haven't become a member yet, you're missing out on a lot of great perks, so do click that join button and see what it takes to become a member today. We're rocketing towards 1 million subscribers, so I want to thank everybody for helping us to surpass that goal. It's amazing, and thanks again for smashing like to see more ancient city builders on the channel, or at least medieval times or times in the 1700s, for example, like in Ostriv. Let's start ourselves a new game and take a look at ancient cities. So I figured we'd start our little tribe of Raptoria down here in the southern part of, well, what will eventually be known as France. But I think this part of the game is really cool, how we get to settle anywhere in kind of northwestern Europe. And there's a lot of cool little locations to start in, anywhere from like modern-day Denmark or Ireland or France or even northern Spain and Portugal. But as you can see, some of these places aren't as inhabitable yet because, look at that, if you jump back to 10,000 BC, I think this is the coolest. Most of the land is frozen, and there's very, very few places to build in rivers and streams, and that's where you want to build the most. It's on coastlines, rivers, and any sort of large lakes. It's a very helpful place to be able to find additional food like clams and fish, and also gives your people kind of something to get water from too, which is helpful. Better than a desert, and even better than the snow. Well, we're going to jump all the way forward to 3500 BC. Check that out, by the way. Yeah, that's really cool how you can see the Ice Age kind of thawing out, and more and more areas are accessible. You can see the English Channel being made. You can see it disappear and reform again. And of course, all those wonderful rivers becoming thawed out too, and all those lakes as well. Many, many more. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump in then, and we'll make ourselves the glorious Empire of Raptoria. Glory to Raptoria down below in that comment section. Let's get those comments all the way to the top, like everybody else's comments, and let's see if we can get a big win. Let's get everybody's comments all the way up and show some lovely positivity for yet another city builder. Again, if you're into these types of city builders, do check the channel for games like Dawn of Man, and also Ostriv, Foundation, Kingdoms and Castles, and let me know down below if there's any others that I've missed or that you want to see again. Here we go. Well, as close to a river as we could be, the Raptorians are just on the eastern side of a lovely little river that leads all the way down to, well, the coast of the Mediterranean. You can see here in this red area, this is about the area that we get to play and migrate in. Yes, we get to kind of pick a little bit more precise area where we want to settle our people, so we could, settle at the foot of a mountain or somewhere near a river or a lake. In this case, the rivers are much better, but you can see where once we settle, like for example, near the river, there might be opportunities to build other tribes and have them nearby, for example, for farming or additional fishing or additional logging or something like that. And it could create eventually a society, a civilization where we could trade and start learning things to survive in other eras. Now, I don't know if this game will go up to the Iron Age. I think it actually goes to 1000 AD, so whatever precise time that would be, maybe into the, I don't know if that's the classical era, or, well, actually, yeah, it would be past that, and of course, things like better weapons and smelting and conflicts would be a thing, written word. We have a long way to go to get there, but it's definitely cool to see. Speaking of cool, it's only 5 degrees Celsius. But one thing I really like about this game is there's also a tutorial for it, and I should have the tutorial on. But it's kind of sometimes a little cumbersome with its text, which is good. Like, it's good to be able to explain everything that's going on. But for today's purposes of trying to show some hunting and new gathering resources, and of course, building homes out of reed and other things, that's what we're going to do. We've got a few members in our party. Children do actually work in the settlement. It's all hands on deck when it comes to survival. They'll do things like gather berries and bring them back, and also little sticks and small jobs like that. Anything to stay alive, that's better than death. We also actually consume dry fish and I believe leather if we travel long distances. If we settled here and we want to cross the river and maybe settle somewhere down over here, it will consume fish to do that, as our people are eating while they're, migrating. We're a migrating tribe, but now it's time to finally settle down. So let's do just that. We'll migrate now to a location next to the river. This bend here looks pretty nice, so we'll try to settle as close to that as possible on this side of the river, on the eastern side, and we'll see if they can get right there. We'll unpause, and as we take a look at the top of the screen, we can see the current historical year. Oh, wow, we started in 6749. What? I started 6500 when I created it. Anyway, April, it's now spring. I think in this game, too, 3 days equals a month, so time goes by quite quickly, and so our people can age quite quickly, too. Otherwise, you'd be playing this game for 30 years at a time. Now, it's not precise, though. As you can kind of see, it gives you a generic month and also a generic time of day. You have your dawn, noon, dusk, and nighttime, and different types of controls, including our temperature, which we'll need to keep an eye on when we go to make clothing and try to keep people warm by having fireplaces. And really, the most important thing in this game is first food, then shelter, then defenses, because you want it to look cool and whatnot, and organized, and then storing more of everything that you need. Let's jump into the city, then we'll speed up time and see if our people will move there. You can see some of these resources eventually being consumed. Right now we're at 68, and we should arrive before nighttime. So the closer you can try to build your initial setup to a river, the better. And as the game mentions, not all these areas are inhabitable. You can definitely pick a bad choice and end up, dying your whole tribe out by not having water or a food resource nearby. In this case, animals, deer and rabbits and such might be able to be hunted. I don't know. I've seen deer. But if we're thinking about this as kind of a practical thing, if this were real life, that's what we'd be thinking about. All right, let's build our city. All right, and here we are. Our people brought a bunch of pelts and rocks and other things with them. I guess that's what they thought were shiny and valuable. And now we are ready to settle down. We've got men and women and children ready to go with us. And we just have a little bit of a walk to go to an area near... Wow, there's actually a really good spot here for reed. And we can go ahead and start designing our settlement and stuff over here. Now, our people dropped off a bunch of stuff over there, but as we are mostly going to be doing gathering, that's something we can do very shortly. The rocks look really nice. I like the landscape, the water, and leaves and things around. And we'll start gathering all this stuff up. That's important near the settlement, so that way we can then start building those buildings. First things first, though, we better start setting up storage for everything to be dropped off. Sticks, for example, and places to cook, as they brought a little bit of food with them. Nice clearing there on the left side. Also pretty good here on the right side, too. But our settlement's going to be a little smaller. So we'll start settling over here. And things like these large rocks can't be moved out of the way. So we'll kind of have to make that a part of our settlement as we build a big defensive wall around it and cut down some trees. Okay, well, let's go ahead and start ordering some buildings to be constructed. We have some new stuff I haven't seen before. A reed hut, straw and big straw huts, small straw huts, pelts, and big reed hut. Definitely want some reeds here, as we're right next to the shoreline. We'll go ahead and start designing our village, which eventually people will construct over time. So we'll try to build a house, which, by the way, I think this holds up to 9 people. Looks like we can build over that log, too. So that might be a source of wood for our people. Looks off a little bit. Let's see if we can rotate it just a little bit more. Oh, there you go, yeah. So you can have things kind of in a... It's kind of a grid pattern, but not really. It's like you can free build wherever you want, but things are also kind of on a grid, which is cool. If you're trying to keep things organized and close together without being too close, then you can try to get as close as possible without going over, like the Showcase Showdown. Let's go ahead and see how many people this holds. That is a house for 9. We've got, I think, 12 people with us, or what was the tribe size? Oh no, that's much more. And I don't know what rules are on families, but we'll go ahead and build one to begin with, and then we'll build another reed hut over here. We'll start with just a few. Our people are definitely not going to be able to build everything in one day, and definitely not 1 week or 1 month. It takes a very long time to gather all these materials, so let's start right there. We'll also give our people an area to store things. So under storage, we have the ability to put things in baskets or haystacks, or in this case, pits. That would be perfect for storing food, and the same with baskets. The pit, though, is kind of, if you think about it, a little bit like refrigeration. We're going to go ahead and make a nice storage area here. I think what we want to do is just small areas for, like, for example, reeds and sticks and stones. We're going to start with something like that. A 3x3. We'll build another one if we can. It's a little weird to build this. I would prefer it to be just a grid because you want to make it perfect, so it'd be nice to see. The most important thing at the start then is sticks so our people can cook. So we'll begin with that. We'll go ahead and gather. Those are logs. We want sticks here. Let's see. Fine sticks would be just fine with me. And then we want to probably gather some other food and such. So we'll go ahead and ask them to gather hazelnuts and rose hips, clams, mushrooms, hazelnuts. Oh, it's actually one at a time. I actually wanted to pick more than one. Well, we'll start with rose hips, as I know those are plentiful. I think there is a way to do multi-storage, but you guys can give me more greater details down below. A lot of you have played this game a lot as well, so if you have any sort of tips or whatnot, make sure that you go ahead and remind me down below, or anybody else if you have first-time tips or whatnot about the game, as there is quite a bit of detail to it and a lot of things to maintain, focus on. We're going to then go and focus on building ourselves a small fireplace, which we can put out in front of these two buildings here. I think this tree will disappear once we start building, and then we can go ahead and cook food out front here. Now, we can also do defensive walls in the game, and a lot of them are decorative, too. Like, for example, a nice little fence, which you can decorate things with. But again, we can have some large defensive walls with gates, even, and really make that authentic-looking little initial defensive structure that we want. And we don't have to build a massive structure. We don't really... It's the beginning of mankind. We're mostly afraid of the shadows than we are people. People might actually be a comforting sight, as, of course, we want to stick together to survive against woolly mammoths and whatnot. So that's it for our initial setup, at least for putting buildings around. We now need to start working on... Is it raining? Oh, I thought I saw rain. We need to start working on gathering. So we're going to go ahead and give ourselves a work group, which then requires us to open work group UI. And you can see now we can do hunting. That's awesome. So we'll have our people do some gathering. We'll go ahead and tell maybe 4 people to get on gathering. Everyone else will start constructing things. So we'll go ahead and go with 4 people on a gathering team. And we can tell them to do just that. And we can tell them what specifically to gather or what area to gather it in. So let's just go ahead and tell everybody, hey, if you want to gather anything along the beach or anything in this area, why not? Have at it. It's a little large area, but that's okay. They'll first be gathering sticks and eventually reed and things like that. In fact, I wonder if I can do a secondary area. Yeah, we could probably do something like crop, which will let them, I believe, cut down things and bring them back. But we'll do that after we get a little bit of food going. The next thing we want to do is assign another work group for people to probably do some basic crafting. And we'll get that on 2, and we can give them orders to craft certain things. The houses are going to be cleared out now. What's going on is people are basically gathering grass and, well, any sort of sticks and rocks and moving them out of the way for the home construction. So we'll basically see everybody on their knees, moving all sorts of materials around, grabbing grass, putting it into an area, and then having it dry out for hay. And it'll be the same when we gather reeds. They'll bring it to a certain area where it then can be applied to homes and roofs and walls and give our people some shelter. You can see all the resources now that we have in storage. We have 68 fish that's still around nearby. I believe dry fish can be consumed raw, but there is a way to get people to cook stuff as well. If they find, for example, rose hips or honeycombs, they might actually cook that up and have a nice warm meal. I hope this log here deletes itself or whatnot. It's going to be distracting. But this is a nice flat area that's really close to the reeds. There seems to be somewhat of a safe area to cross. It's not a good idea, you know, during flood season. But that's another thing I like to think about, too, is building on the high ground. I don't know where I've heard that before, but that seems to be a good idea to have the high ground. And, of course, also build a wall around it and make sure that the high ground is plenty far away from anything else so you can build a nice circular wall. But that's okay. I always like the beachfront property, or at least in this case, down by the old riverbank. Literally old. Okay, it looks like some of these areas are being cleared out. That's fantastic. We'll have some people building stuff very soon, or delivering the materials for it. There you go. We got some stones being delivered, it looks like. And we need some people to make ropes, I think. There's some other materials that are needed. Let's go ahead and go back to construction. Craftsmen, let's go ahead and give them orders then. We want them to craft an endless supply of ropes if we can. We have a biface for cutting down trees, so that's probably going to be a good thing to use sticks and stones. We also seemingly need to refine stones. Well, let's go ahead and make like, can we set a number here? Let's go ahead and make 4 of these. And of course that's for cutting. We also have primitive bows that we can start making with very specific types of materials. In this case, just string, which is made from plant fibers, and sticks, which are found pretty much everywhere. Wooden tridents are great for fishing. I think the best one is the bone harpoon. Yeah, it's 150% fish production, And flint spear is very good for hunting too. Not great for fishing, but that's what you want for hunting. So that's something we'll assign our people to do as well. Alright, let's go ahead and have everybody finish up their building for the day. It'll be nighttime soon, so good work clearing out some areas and delivering some basic materials. Food and stuff is going to be brought from somewhere over here, wherever they spawned. Yep, there we go. We see people walking there now. So you can see people kind of coming back and forth, and we'll eventually drop off all the materials that we need. I think the day-night cycle in this game is helpful, though, as I may have mentioned that every 3 or 4 days a month passes. And so it's not a season, but a month. So you have quite a bit of time to prepare for winter, but it's not like you have 30 days a month in order to kind of get everything right. The day-night cycle is pretty quick, so you'll kind of have to make sure you don't go too slow or too fast, and just try to keep at a certain pace. Let's see if we can get anybody else to create things for us. We have 4 buy faces ready to be made. I'm going to check back on our gatherers now. Another work group, gatherers. So they have orders and they're gathering things. Our first people don't really have any sort of resource pool to pull from. That's why they're not doing anything. The buy faces, we don't have stones gathered in an official storage. So we'll work on that. Sometimes it's a little harder to do that at night, but we'll get started right now with it. Let's go for the storage areas. You can see there's a lot of different things to build too, isn't there? Dryers and pelt tanners, those are things we can use to make leather. Clearing areas, much more options than before, but still quite basic. I don't even see a building for butchering any of the deers or slaughtering them. I guess they do that in the field, bring back what they can, and then try to distribute everything at this storage area. Let's go ahead and build another 3x3. Really wish this were done a little bit differently. Yeah, you can see it's like a 4x3 now. I like the whole free build thing because it's seemingly based on piles, so you want your piles to look good, but also you don't have to. It doesn't matter too much, but it does matter because if you're trying to build a, I don't think there's a way to build multiple storages in one storage area. I wish it worked more like a stronghold like stockpile from that game, if you recall. Okay, I don't think this is even at all. I'll try a different type of design here. Let's try to, I don't know if we can edit either, but let's go ahead and try something like this instead. We'll make a large rock storage here. Rocks will be used for all of our weapons and such. So let's just do some basic big stone gathering. And then they should be able to break that down into a buy face, and then people should be able to use that. But stones will be important for some of the buildings, so it's not a bad thing. I like how we're storing everything here too. Now we can make homes out of pelts. I'm going to leave that as my own personal home. Because also, that's something we can gather, which we weren't able to before. It was like a special resource because of the deer hunting now. So we should be able to do something with that. I'm going to build my house over here by the old rock. Let's see if we can put that over here. And it'll probably never get built, but I do like to lay out my city a little bit before we get cracking too far into it. And we can build walls pretty much all the way around here. Gate, you know, anywhere around the river. And pointing towards the river too. Alright, we want to see some hunting, don't we? So we got to get up to that. Let's go ahead and get cracking with it. We're going to assign some more work groups then to go hunting. We'll assign 2 people to be hunters. And configuration, prey size range. So we can actually tell them to only attack larger prey or small game. So anything from like a woolly mammoth down to an ant or whatever. It's probably more like bunnies and such. I don't know if we can actually see the hunting, and I haven't seen any wildlife yet. But I would imagine this is a pretty good spot to see them. There's lots of trees around and rivers. So we might be close to their breeding grounds or whatnot. Proper tools are needed, yes. So now we need to make ourselves some bow and arrow. So we can begin that with our work group. We'll go back to the craftsman, and we'll tell them to also build a primitive hazel bow out of string. And so we can tell them to do that from plant fibers, I believe. So if we go to materials, we can go ahead and tell them to infinitely... you know, we're only going to put certain numbers in storage. So let's do like maybe 20 ropes. Those are always useful. And we'll have to have a rope storage too. And then fine sticks, we'll craft those. So they need a place to take from and to store. So a lot of your base will be a lot bigger than you think, eventually. Let's do 10 at a time. Let's put in an order for 3 primitive bow. Yeah, we'll do 3. Just in case one breaks. Bone harpoon will eventually come when we find animals to kill. Then we'll get bones from that. And a flint spear. We'll work on that a little bit later. The primitive hazel bow is pretty good for hunting and fishing. So we can use it for both teams. We'll just kind of do I guess the hunting for now. And we'll assign maybe a couple of... Actually, we'll just assign a couple of flint. There we go. Spears now, too. Now, this group is completely overwhelmed with stuff to do, but they'll get around to it. And a lot of the materials are pretty basic, so it shouldn't take them too long to gather and place things where they need to go. Alright, so rose hips are being brought over. Sticks, we need then an area for fine sticks to be stored. We actually want to go to this type of stick, not the fine stick. Fine stick is the refined stick. That needs to be worked on at the workshop. Cool thing, too, is that rocks like this, people will actually sit on these rocks in order to do their work. There's no real workshops or anything, so they'll literally just come over here with another rock and, like, whittle it down and try to straighten out the stick so it can be used in building a home or a tool, which is pretty neat. Well, I want to build some more storage areas. I think we should build a nice storage area. I think these 2x-whatevers are a really good option for some of our larger projects. I do want to do another storage over here, maybe. So we'll try to do something like this. For more food types. Now, I don't know what else we have, but we do certainly have a lot of reeds that need to be gathered. So let's ask our people to also grab that. And we'll have the gather team also be on the lookout for reed. We can set things to automatic gathering too, so I think we can pick pretty much everything we want to gather. I'm just going to tell them all just for these purposes. We'll also tell them to gather sticks and plant fibers, rocks, and reeds. There we go. So now we have everything on the list for materials for construction. I'm pretty sure. This feels better than it ever has. I see a lot of sticks and stuff out here. No idea what they need yet for construction, but it has begun. Or at least I can't recall. And not great. Second day and people are already in the rain. Oh boy. There we go. Some of our people out gathering berries. Nice. And we'll have to see some hunting here shortly. We'll need to make some weapons. And I think we want the craftsman team to be a little bit bigger. They've got a lot of tasks. We should be doing 1 or 2 tasks, but everything basically needs to be done at any time. It's a very essential thing. It's a priority to get some of these things done as soon as possible. Now, if there's hunting, let's see if there's any animals. Let's peek around and see if we can find like a deer or a bear or a boar. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So it's a leader of the pack, so that could be an aggressive animal. An omnivore, source of meat, pelt, and bones. They will not eat your food if you build closed storage or fences. Ah, so that's a reason why we want to build fences too, is to keep out foreign invaders who happen to want to invade our cupboards. We don't want that. Ah, there we go. Houses are being constructed. Cool. Maybe I should make another team just to gather reeds over here. So we'll add another team. Oh wait, actually first I want to take a look at where we're at. Looks nice. So the Raptorians are here, settled on pretty much either side of the river. Could build stuff on the other side if we want to, when we get around to it. Let's go for another gathering group. And we can actually, oh look, gathering people, gathering beasts. We can rename these then to Reed Team or something like that. Whatever we want to call them. And then we can tell them to gather everything in this area. And then start storing it. And hopefully that's enough for a roof. I'm not sure how much we need, but it's definitely going to be a cool thing to see some of that being gathered. We'll put another 3 people on that. That's set to gather reeds, yes. And I hope they have a work area. It looks like they do. I see people coming over. Let's see if they actually get... Oh, they're gathering rocks. Oh, there's a nice rock pile there. I believe we can also get flint, too. Now, I'm also going to tell our people to crop. I think this tells them to cut down the plants, I believe. Cropping and gathering. So the same for fishing. Let's set up another work group for that. Oops, don't pause that, please. I would like to build another work area. So we'll go back. And we'll do another fishing area here. Oops. So the fishers will be very efficient down here, I'm sure. And I don't know if there's signs for fish, but it would make sense to me that if you're near the shore and it's this time, there's probably plenty of fish to be gathered before man started fishing in total. Okay, so initial homes are going up. Rose hips are being gathered. Our fire pit is already almost done, so shortly we should be able to produce food. Get everyone fed. Looks like weapons are being made. Is that a spear? Or at least a refined stick, so that could be used for building a house or throwing a spear. We got people fishing over here. I assume are they literally trying to catch with their hands? Well, honestly, it's better than nothing. We should also try to start storing things in baskets rather than storage areas, so we can change that rose hip area to something else. But that was just to get us started. Let's go ahead and ask our people to do some stuff with baskets. We should have some material to build that. So let's go with a couple of things here. There we go. We'll do 3 baskets there for like nuts, berries, and fish. Raw fish, and then that can be cooked over here by the fireplace and gathered by people as they walk by out of their homes. So if they're hungry, they'll walk by, grab something, and go over to the stove and help themselves. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Alright, now we just need to see some hunting. So I wonder if we can assign our hunting party... Oh, there's birds flying over. We just need to assign to our hunting party the order to go hunting, so that way they'll find an animal whenever. Now, with that said, we can prepare for the hunt team by getting a few more things ready for them. Obviously, the dryer for meat. And I like setting all my stuff up way beforehand, so one, I don't miss anything, which I will, by the way, and then I'll come back and correct it later. And then, of course, to be able to maximize your space while you're working on other projects and seeing how many people you can really fit in your town, or really just your first settlement. So there's some of the homes, baskets. Pit here, too, is a very longer... it's more oriented for long-term storage. So it's like... yeah, it's basically like for making an area for fish to be stored in for the winter. Something that could go bad, even if it's dry fish. If it's dried or salted or whatnot, you can still put it in there and gather it up for the winter. Again, I don't know if it has to be cooked or not in the game or in real life. My thought is like, no, it's like, jerky. But I could be wrong. Let's go for another thing. Let's build a haystack. We can then start storing all this grass somewhere other than, in the useful areas. So grass can be dried out and then used to build homes. No cattle or domestication at the moment, but we can use that stuff to build houses. Alright, next thing's next. What do we got? We got some homes down. We got some storage areas down. Pelter and drying area. We got a fireplace we can build at some point. We'll skip that for now. Palisades, we got to build those. A religious building, that takes 10,000 stone. That is newer to me, I don't remember that. That'll be our monument to RAPTORIA whenever we get around to building it. Let's build it something like that, cool. And I think we can put construction projects on pause if we want to, just like that. And then we can rename it when it's constructed. Ah, good, rock piles are starting to stack up. Excellent. Nice. 69 logs. I was going to call them rogs, but yes, logs and rocks are important for homes, so that's what I combined them as in my mind. We'll need some more reed though, and probably some more wood in order to complete these, but the sticks will be good enough for now. Look at these long sticks. They're like bringing over completely destroyed trees, or I guess little saplings or whatnot. The settlement's looking good. I want to plan out some walls for it too, so we'll get that done. Let's see. Now our tribe could starve, but again, for demonstration purposes of what's new to the game, we're kind of just trying to experiment and see what's new, rather than just worrying about, I know it sounds horrible, but they'll be fine, trust me, they don't even exist. Yeah, I know that. See, that kid thought it was funny. Thank you. Appreciate that. What a good kid. Alright, so there's lots of rocks around here. Our people will gather from there. We'll build ourselves an entrance here, and then see if we can build a wall all the way around. I think when we build walls, they have to be at angles. They can't really be rounded. I think they have to be kind of more oval shape. Or not oval shape, but like a pentagon or a hexagon. Or a Days Gone. No, wait, that's a game for PS4. 5. Alright, let's try that again. Try to build that a little further away from the rocks. Pesky rocks, there we go. So if we build in smaller little sections, we can actually make it look pretty good. It does actually look rounded if we kind of build little by little. Much better appearance. Oh, and there's some trees in the way there. That's alright, we'll cut those down when we actually build this defensive wall. Now this is going to be an incredibly expensive amount of materials, but there we go. We can probably eventually build a guard tower. That's going to look cool. Going to look really nice. Alright, let's skip to the next day. So it's good to see night and day go by, because every time it does, you know that it's actually a day of a season, in which there are 4 in this game, to kind of progress time. Otherwise, waiting 30 years for somebody to grow up and then eventually have children and then die off. Can you imagine that? That would just take forever. Oh wait, we're still back to normal speed. I wanted to speed up to daytime. Oh, there we go. Very nice. So now everybody's moving around, everybody's moving and shaking. There's a lot more efficiency to be done here. And of course, as I may have mentioned, my patience to do this over and over again is not as what it once was. But it is exciting to see all the new stuff. And all the small things too, like people sitting on rocks and chatting or working. People putting together homes and getting the materials together. We are starting to gather a lot more rocks, and the sticks are being gathered too in their storage area. Pretty much everywhere those are being gathered. And of course reeds will be gathered too. Hopefully we can sort that all out. You see? Yeah. Alright, how's fishing going? I don't know if we have a storage area for that. The baskets, that's what needs to be done. So we need to make some stuff for that. Probably just dry out some straw, to which we have 44. So eventually everyone will get around to every job, and we can wait for time to go by as everybody relaxes and enjoys a meal. I think there is a way to set working hours too. I think when you go to the migration screen, there might be a way to do that. Let's see, or maybe it's in the screen itself inside the city. There should be ways to do that. There you go. Labor age. Well, we want everyone to not die, so I hate to do it, but, you know, no, I don't. Then let's see. We got rationing. We should probably ration a little bit, and labor time's going to have to be a little bit more. Everybody's going to work. They're not going to be happy about it, but the first few days that you have your settlement, you want to get up food, food storage, basic materials, and basic construction going on with everything that we've covered so far. Now, I wonder if there's some deer around. Would be really cool to go out and see some hunting. Well, that's kind of more of a mid-game thing of what's currently available, since you got to make some bow and arrow, and that's not until you've gotten a few homes up. That's more important, especially if you can't survive your first winter without fish or whatnot. We've got to be gathering fish. Our people were down here fishing. Yeah, they are. So they're down here literally trying to grab it with their hands. Trying to make some more stuff there for them, but let's see if the manufacturing team is doing some good stuff here. Oh, gathering people. Go ahead and begin that. And then actions are pretty much anything. There might not be a place to store these, but materials and food are okay by me. Whatever you can find. Not the fishers. The manufacturing crafters, yeah. So we need a place to store plant fibers. I kind of wish there was a way to just get them to gather whatever they needed themselves. Like if they need some straw, they could just walk outside, grab some grass, make a rope. Takes a little bit of time to set up everything, but once you do, it's a pretty good feeling. And relief. Okay. Well, let's build something. Let's go for a new storage area. Oh yes, that was the button I clicked. There's a auto skip nighttime that fast forwards through the night and then pauses at the day. More games need that. I do like that. Oh, how quickly do we forget? Ugh. That storage area though. We'll keep it that way. It kind of looks natural. Everything's kind of messy anyway. Fine raw stone. Uncommon. We could also gather bones for special tools. But let's gather plants for plant fiber. Oh, there's honeycomb too. So I believe plant fiber is literally just straw, I think. But we can put ropes there, so eventually the craftsman could drop the ropes off there and then pick them up in order to use on their next project. Bifaces, for example, should just be, I think, distributed or laid on the ground. It's quite a cumbersome storage project, but I do agree that things like rocks and large stones and lumber and sticks should be all stored outside in giant piles, but things like food should go in the baskets, and things that are manufactured could probably go into a different area or something like that. Maybe we could make a small area with a few sticks that some finished products could be put on top of in order to, you know, get everything done. Alright, we're going to speed up time for the rest of the day. No matter what, for interest and time in the game, we just want to speed up a little bit and see what else gets constructed and what else everybody works on. So some things are still pending, either in the labor force or the material to build it, but for the first few days you just want basic food up. And luckily everybody seems to be getting fish, so they're probably cooking that, and we should make our fire a much more higher priority. Let's see if we can do that. Priority number 1, please. And that should just be some stones and some sticks. And fuel to actually keep it running. There we go. Cool. Small fireplace finally completed. Let's build my house, just so I have a place to stay for everyone else's safety. It's for everyone else that I need a large, luxurious mansion. Small fireplace is now complete. Good. And I didn't see the wall be completed. Are we actually building that? Did I misclick? But you get the point. It was a demonstration to show what it would be like to build a wall around the camp, or to build fences around maybe a small area of food storage so those damn boars don't get to it. Well, we have the gate being built. That's more important. That'll be a foundation for our eventual wall. So if our camp starts to grow, we can make the wall a little wider, but definitely not going to go past here, and definitely not going to go past here. So our shape is probably going to be more oval-like, like a flat tire. So that'll be just fine. Alright, well, I hope to see some hunting, but everybody at least is having a nice meal down by the fire. Probably get a few more people there working on stuff. Our people still kind of going out there to sleep, as that's where they spawned. But homes will be up eventually, starting with the pelt that we brought from our nomadic days, and then eventually things like straw from the big, or, well, rather reed from the big reed hut, which is gathered right here. Oh, is that dirt or is that a lot of reed? I think that's actually the ground. It's hard for me to tell for a second. But they'll get to it. Let's see if there's a gathering group on that one. Fine sticks, straw, leather, and dry fish. Only a few of that left, so we got to definitely go for rose hips and such. Always a nice thing to see this game being built and improvements being made. It's also getting me excited for games like Manor Lords, that is kind of a more medieval version of this, where it has its own complexities towards, similar to Total War, but also feels a lot like Ostriv, and also has a lot of this modular building that I like. One thing that I think is heavily looked over in these types of games is individual parts being brought over to buildings as they're constructed. So as you can see, the building was once just a few sticks, and now it's got an actual frame to it, and there's some supports and more things being delivered, and so that's really cool. We're going to stop at the rock gathering for now. Now, I wonder if we can tell our tribesmen to go and gather one of the boars. I do actually want to see some hunting here, but let's go ahead and tell our gathering team not to gather that anymore. Let's see. There we are. So no more sticks, please. Don't worry about ropes. Craftsmen will deliver those. Go for sticks and reeds and any type of food you can find. So the hunters will probably kill the animal, and then the gatherers will bring it back. I guess technically hunters would gather too. After they've killed an animal, they would gather all the bones and the hide and meat and anything else they found useful, using the whole buffalo, I guess, for lack of a better term. Is this guy just sorting through stones? Oh, is this guy... This is a drop-off area and he's actually organizing them? That's cool. Very nice. Our people are detailed too. Nice tattoos and markings on them and mud and charcoal and whatever else to kind of set themselves apart. Pretty cool stuff. So it does take some time to get homes up, and that is definitely something that we will see shortly as straw is being delivered to homes. Now you can see it sitting there. It's not part of any other storage. It's actually being delivered for the construction. It would be nice to see what these buildings were missing, though. I think there is a way to see. It's at 35 out of 100. Lack of sticks is what it is, so we need more sticks to be brought over. But it looks like they're trying to gather as many as they can. So what are our gathering areas gathering now? Rocks. And this is regular sticks, right? Yeah, just regular stick. So we just need more people in that gathering section. But we need everybody everywhere because, you know, things need to be crafted, things need to be brought back for food, things must be hunted. The village must survive. Indeed it should. Let's speed up one last time then, skipping to daytime if we can. There we go. So again, in this game, once we've finished setting up our village, typically the way that I'll play it is it's a long wait to find out whether or not you've got everything set up to iron out some of the issues that may occur in your construction progress. So for example, if you find out that you're lacking sticks, you can then adjust the gatherers to do that a little bit more. Every area you start in has a finite numbers of sticks, so if you're trying to find a good supply of them, you may have to go further and further away from the camp. That type of thing. So, oh, it looks like we got yet another building project to do here for our monument, though that's kind of on hold for now. Our religious monument. So cool. Now, there's much more coming to this game, and like I mentioned, the Mesolithic jobs not DLC, but update, like it will feel like DLC. It'll be game-changing, I'm hoping. So that'll be something to make the beginning of the game better. I think the hunting is better for mid-game, like when it's late summer, early fall, when then, you know, animals might be migrating a lot more. You'll see boar and deer around and honeycombs to be gathered at pretty much any time, and you can store all that stuff in your food baskets. And that's what I'm doing, is getting a little overwhelmed with the things to do. Like I've asked our people to do a lot in a short amount of time. And there is a tutorial that does instruct you on how to do each and everything and how to build the fire and where to start. It doesn't go into the hunting or whatnot, so it'll be good to see some of that updated to be more basic, as it is very informative. But that's only because I've done this a few times. So what do you think, by the way? Again, our city is nowhere near complete. We've got to wait for everything to be constructed, but it'll just take time to gather these materials and hunt for animals. And now we can truly say that the Raptorians are a hunter-gatherer people. Very cool. Well, I will see you all very soon for next time when there's an update very soon. I hope very much to see that soon, and I will see you soon as well. Thanks for dropping in. I think I want to do a live stream on this one here, so we'll save from here on out, and if you want to see me continue it, it'll take some time, but it'd be great to answer your questions, get feedback from you on what you think could be added in the future, what you'd like to see, and what your overall thoughts of the game are, and of course, concepts of ancient cities, not just the game, but cities in the ancient world where there's all sorts of different types of builders for them, ranging from Rome to early man to prehistoric man, that type of thing. Dawn of Man, Son of Man. Oh wait, that's a song. Oh right, great. Now we're demonetized. Wonderful. Hey Bob, could you cut that out? Great. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic afternoon, good evening, and good night. Know that the Hunter update is out. Jobs are coming soon, and I want to come on back to this one soon too to see our houses be built. Everybody jump into some shelters, and we'll throw a wall around it too. I like it. All right. Well, I'm out of time. I gotta go. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, everyone.